Grid line centers, rotation and position line connections. I set up a very powerful TikTok for everybody. Channel to line connections is all about understanding. Because I'm in general interface position locations, I can center line all levels of your chakra connections. So I sent a very powerful TikTok, 3 minutes, about if anybody wants to be high rise and in their chakra communications, high levels to positions of 12 track systems, open cycles, rotation connection, which means that the collaboration of centers to your chakra system is fear, anxiety, stress, and depression, right? It's all about understanding that. So I'll be sending a 15-second video for anybody who wants to get realigned or readjusted, right? Anything through program, a highline or system program locations is high position to my team. They go into the program settings to my email location line connections. It's all about humanity coming to force wind cycles right now because Matrix is in a gridlock system. Space is allocated time lock system right now. So it's trapping its location line centers and it's opening up new computer line interference. So there's a lot happening right now. Okay, our light worker channels are going to be off disposition for a while. Okay, because we have to fix the space anomalies and the trap line center rotations. The computer in its alignment is set through space. Time is in its frequency code. It's angling through so many levels of interference channels. That's a true understanding in coming to calculation modifications. I also did a very powerful TikTok about what is a hybrid, right? And basically, we're all connected to intelligence of form through energy, frequency, and vibrations. You have to just kind of put all this all together, information to a pattern or anything, coloration line center. Your understanding, your communications is high leveling to all levels of your grids. I'm going to show you an illustration, high level system, how we're all connected to the grid line system. Everything is in its position. That's how you set up all levels of your connections, high force and line centers, E-field location line systems, energy circle locations, directions, and active conditions. Plus, today is test review and evaluations for the galactic forces. 60 location line centers, 60 activation circles, everything to high levels of laser direction connections to its pyramids. The activation circle is going to be set to location line connections. You guys have to come into high level system to your navigations of your mind, of your imagination, of your thoughts, and everything you go through creation is your manifestations. So today we're going to go into the grid line center of the computer operation line system to the ground line system of this rotation today, which is going to be the first track system of your test review and evaluations. All right. So you want to check that out. Let me know. Information, questions, email, healing. Just go through my email. It's down below. Everything's down below. But like I said, things are going to get a lot more easier now. Okay. Because space is on a gridlock. So it's fascinating how it comes into high level system. And like I said, it's all about under construction. It's like, for example, you're going to set up a website and your website is under construction. It's not ready yet. Well, that's what's happening with space. So space is locked down. Space is locked down now. So, and that's an understanding is that we have to reset, realign, readjust, refocus everything through the brain line center to the cloud interface line system to allocate line connections to a new program line system to its rotation to the moon and the track system to the sun. The sun has to come into calculation modifications to all dream sector line interference to positions of humanity. Okay, now it's extremely complicated stuff because you're talking to a general and all levels of all intelligence of all form through energy and light and traction system locations and GPS locking line connections. My team comes into higher level systems. You have to realize how to communicate in a high level rotation, how to communicate with the circuitry wall, how to communicate with the circuitry light of a ceiling line center, how to communicate through wall interference and open up a plasma of a portal, or go through a mirror and line center rotation. These things are extremely complicated if you don't understand your operation inside position. Okay, so it's important to understand these things. Okay, so what I've done on TikTok, okay, it's not opening all your 7 chakra rotation line centers or anything your conscious level system. It's just activating one connection line system to its position of your behavior line center, which is connected to all levels of your crystal activation line connection, rotation position to one track system of one division line system. So it's just one chakra being activated line connections. These are the people that need to wake up locations. They come into the grid line center to Mother Earth. It's the hearting beat of its connection line interference, which comes into its high level system to its pacemaker. The clocking system is extremely important for that position location line connections. But space is on lockdown. All right. So, and you guys will feel that too. So we have to reconstruct everything. The line enters, interline and position line center to its rotation to a new coloration pattern to communications. And like I said, everything I give you is chronological order. The sentients, major good workers, and now surface and line centers. We have Guardians of the Galaxy, that's in position line connections. You understand what intelligence is used through all level system rotations. So I do with the call lines, and they come back and track system in the present line system of your dimension. That's how we set up new space anomaly to time position line connection. So it's really fascinating when we come across these things. All right. So we all have to be prepared for that. So I'm going to center line conditions. We're going to go into your review. The review coming into 60 chakra rotation centers of computer chip locations. Yesterday was really powerful. We went through the high level system inside position locations, body track line system, seen everything inside the computer line center rotation. So it's pretty fascinating. All right, so you have to understand what we live on, okay? How we are connected to high level system. What keeps us on the ground line center? Well, this is you in position. Dreamstand conditions, right? This is you. That's you, right? You have to understand you're on a grid every single day. You have to, because it's connected to the ground line system rotation, to all connection line system rotation, right? So you're always on a grid. And that grid comes into a high level system to its rotation. So you come into power recognition of you through dimensional walking condition of portals. And then you come into high level system calculation modifications of the birth line system to the sun track system. So it gets more complicated as you go along. But this is what you wait. So it's kind of like, it's an upside down T-force line center. See the T? Right? And it comes into line center rotation, comes into its 10 to its line condition interference. So that's what it looks like. See, from here, right? Up and down. Center line system is U through rotation. All right, so you try and understand the grid line center is like this location. Kind of looks like a waffle. All right, so that's what we stand on every single day. The ground line center sets up the rotation position line conditions. All right. So everybody, like I said, you're going to travel every single day. The test review and evaluation is traveling. Okay, it's not illustration, it's traveling. You guys are coming into higher levels right now, and you have to get in confirmation line centers to Vega communication signals to understand all your levels of your positions to your digital frame position line condition. All right. So we're going to go into the gridlock line center to the ground conditions, right? So you guys are going to go under the grounds today. You're going to go into the grounds. You're going to go into the tunnels. You're going to see the computer line centers that are set up to all two line center rotations, right? So we're going to go 15,000 feet under the ground line center today, all right? All done through grid locations. So you have to understand the birth line system of the ground line system of its grid connections. The magnetic force on this line system has to truly understand you through all your chakra systems of 60, all right? So you got the T-force down, and you got the T-force up locations, comes into the vector line communication center line communication cycle locations. So we come into that division line center rotation, okay? We go into the grid line center, okay? All right, so once I activate this, you guys are going to go into the ground line center, okay? Gridlock systems opening up through calculation modifications, bring in the galactic forces, put them in the review line center, show them the graph line center in positions, high position locations, go into the grid lines to its 2, energize this line system. So you can travel anywhere. You don't just travel up, you can travel anywhere. You can travel in the grounds. You can go 20,000 feet under the ground line system. So you guys are going to see diamonds and rubies and emeralds. Everything that you're going to see through track system. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. All right, allocate line center rotation positions. Ground is going to its rebel. All right, so the ripple effect on the ground line centers open up all of grid line system rotations to your power connectors line system to its track line conditions. Magnetic forces coming into allocated line conditions. High position line center rotations in your past, your present, and your future relation line conditions. High position line center rotations. Coming into the grid line center to all position locations, opening up track system. All right, 15 minutes. Have fun. All right. So you're under the grounds now. Okay, have fun. Let me know what you see. Okay, you're in the tube line center underneath the ground line system rotations. You have to get to truly understand what the ground is in Mother Earth because of transit system locations. When I woke up through transformations, the ground was moving extremely fast, and that's how I was able to see so many levels of diamonds and rubies and emeralds because it gets colder, it gets colder, it gets hotter. So it's all about the crust, it's all about the liquid, it's all about the soil, it's all about the communications of the ground line system rotations and how to use all your formations of your air, your fire, your earth, and your water. Have fun. All right, so let me know what you see. Let's see, get into questions and comments here. Tina, Vicky, Cleopatra, Tina. Chris, how's it going? Tina, Vicky, Mary, Cleopatra, Ellen. La la la, yep. Jill, how's it going? Vicky, Jill, Mary, Samantha. All right, Samantha. Thank you, Mary. Hope you did well. And I hope Cody is well too. Yeah. All right. So I'm locking right away. Positive sunstones, half, locked by choice. Yeah. So you guys are under the grounds now. You got to get in the birth line center because the earth line center rotation has its beats. If you hear the beats under the ground line system, that is the voice grid line center to Mother Earth. Just like Father has a voice line connections of space. So this will help you out more on how you're connected to your grid line system rotations. Black and interference to high level systems for energy field line center rotations. All right, so I have an energy field around me through location. So you have to truly understand what you are through intelligence, and it's all about formation. And it's catching its winds or anything through its oscillation sectors and its oscillation locations to its status. So I'm in a cave, water, pool. It's bright, like there's a light source. Yeah. So it's like going into space, but you're in the grounds, but you're in a tube. You're an energy plasma tube, right? So it's really powerful how you come in that position locations. And you have to understand what it is to be in the grounds, underneath the grounds, see the formations of the ground, the sounds of the grounds, the communication and the colors of the grounds, the voicings of the grounds. All right. So I'm in that position locations. Let me know what everybody sees. I'm in a liquid isolation sonar response. Yeah. You have to understand everything given to you location line center. So you're in the ground line system rotations. This is you through track system locations. High position line center rotation line connection. All right. Tube is set up through line of center rotation. It's connected to high level system rotation conditions. All right. All right. So it's truly understanding how to use this through the grid line system rotations. High positions, your levels. Okay, so it's all right. So this is above. This is what you guys are going down. It's like an elevator. So it's a teleportation wheel. It's an energy line center. So it's in communication to the divisions. All right. So it's this. So everybody is in a. It's kind of looks like this. The locations, and you're going down, going down, going down, going down. Right. So you're going to see levels and levels and levels and levels and levels of grounds. You have to truly understand how crop circles are made through line system. Okay, so going down, 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 down. It's a huge cavern, very tall tunnels leading outward. Yeah, let me know if you see diamonds and rubies and emeralds. You'll see crystalline centers. You'll see amethyst. You know, liquid waves become dots of sonar. Yeah, rising from earth grounds. So you have to understand, you have to be under the ground line center. That's the only way you can communicate to Mother Earth. It's not the above, it's the below. Okay, so it's in a cavern type surrounds. I see opening to the left with a pool of clear water. Then to the right, it's a waterfall. I see rubies. There you go. See? Samantha wants to pick them up. Yeah, you can't touch the rubies because then they're ground line center. They're there for a reason. They're there for a purpose. So we use crystal activation line centers to operate location positions, and you have to understand why we have channel line centers across circles. Okay, so it heats up the sensors in ground line system rotations. So let's say you get in positions of rubies, you get into diamonds, you get into emeralds, you get into amethyst. All right, so these are all the ground line centers, okay, of diamonds and crystals, right? So those are activated to the communication line center rotations, right? So it activates the center line system through energy field line conditions to know exactly, because it's all intelligence, right? It's communicating to your line conditions, right? So extremely hot. It's extremely hot. So we use that through the XT1000, comes into line conditions, flies through its rotational time positions. It goes into its sonar line interference, and we set up the crop circle above its system location, right, which synergizes the line centers to each level of crystal activation to its ground of its level rotation, right? So that's how crop circles are set up. We use that through crystal line centers. There's all different levels of travel rotations in the tunnel interference of the earth line condition, right? So it's very powerful when you come into position. You have to understand how to set up crop circles. You guys have a basic understanding, but you have to be under the grounds to understand everything. So, and how we operate crystals. And all levels of intelligence. It's all connected inside you. Swimming, it what looks like plasma dancing and moving fast downward. I went deep, seeing ancient beings. I see black, turn around. Yep, mountains. Yeah, Wheeling would like this. So the line activations are activated through the connections to the crystals underground for crop circles. Yes, Samantha. Very good. That's exactly what it is. Shapes anomalies to positions to its clocking system to its rotation. So it's truly understanding every time you're connecting to a UFO line center, it goes into the ground line center to its location. It goes in its position to its grid line system, and it opens all communications of calculation modifications, right? And then all of a sudden, Vega comes in to rotation. Vega's here to line conditions. Opens all track systems to the UFO, sends the direction line interference, and opens up all sonar line interference to its condition of its Earth line condition rotation. So it sends off energetic waving patterns to all levels of the grounds. So it has a ripple effect, right? So that ripple effect activates light centers to its rotation to all levels of calculation, to all crystalline centers, to the crust, to the liquid, and to the Earth line position locations. So the Earth line center is nothing but a Schumann resonance. You understand that, right? But it's the full cycle of Mother Earth rotation to its conditions. All right? So crystal cavern, like every surface is a crystal, very smart. I'm going down in a spiral of the inner earth, moving to the lava pools, merging to fire. I see huge blocks formed in grid lines. Yeah. Remember, your fingers are grid lines. These are grid lines of strips. Each line center, okay, is a locking interference channel. It's connected to vibration line conditions. This travels to you through all locations. So each finger has its own flux capacitor line condition. It has its own clocking system, dimensional time, right? So feeling the crystal energy frequencies. Yeah, you'll feel it because it's connected to you. So you guys are here now into Highline Center. Change the coloration line center, but you guys are here. So you're here, now you're here. All right? So I know exactly how far you guys are going down. So the more you go down, the more you get connected to Mother Earth. Right? So you have to understand why we created the crystalline centers and everything positioned. So we have layers and layers and layers. And that's how crop circles are set up. They're set up. So when they're connected to high force line center, the ground line system changes the track system, changes the coloration patterns, and it comes into laser direction line conditions. And it comes into light. The center line system goes right up into space anomaly. So it tracks the system. Let's go into locations. And this is what happens when you illuminate the line graph locations. It comes into its own realm division line center, to space anomaly to its conditions, the vibration and the Schumann resonance high forces its all communications of its levels and its crystal activation line center rotation. So once that's activated, it comes into its own grid line center to its own communication circle line connections. And it high rises lasers into the crop circle location. Right? Crop circles are set up to line system. XT1000 comes in, plateaus, goes into the center line system, brings it out back into Vega communication. Vega communication goes back into sunline center rotations into the moon track system and does it all over again. So this is one size graph line system to one position, to calculation, to all levels of a ground system rotation. Right? So that's how we set up crop circles to laser direction line center. So it's signal patterns and communications. It comes into sonar. At high levels, it's rotation center line connections. So once the ground line center opens up through track system, this is what happens. It comes up, starts off in that position, right? Opens up the crown chakra to the location line center, to the power connector line system rotation. High positions, its ground line system. So the ground is one big chakra system of intelligence. So it comes into its own flux capacitor line connection interference channel to its high level system like this, the calculations, right? So once that allocated line system, the XT1000 comes into high level system rotations, 3 line connections of interference location line system rotations, right? High lines, it's sonar. It always has to use sonar, always has to do sonar because it's doing communications of intelligence. It's high force in its line center and it brings up its crop circle locations to its galaxy line center. So that's how it's very important why crop circles are connected to the ground line system, to its rotation, to its crystal activation line connections, and how it's all connected to human resonance, to the circles and its activation to its earth line position. Okay? So it's fascinating stuff when you come into high level system and how crop circles are set up under the ground line rotation. All right? All right, so look here. Yep. You guys are seeing a lot, eh? First time being in the grounds? It's like shopping. I will take a diamond. I will take a ruby. I will take an emerald. You have to understand how they're activated, right? So it explains to you why you have grounds inside you. It's understanding how to use it as intelligence so you can use the rocket surface of chakra systems to open up all shapes and anomalies to your positions of travel. Your geometry line centers and everything, your operation of your directions is everything to your connections. A high forcing line center to its line condition is everything through operation inside your reactor, people. That's how it's calculated and modified. So it's all position of you. When you're on the ground line center, what do you think opens up through rotations? The mind, right? Through calculation modification goes into the heart line center. The heart is what? It's crystals, it's pixels, it's activation, it's activating the grounds, right? It's activating the grounds of you through circular rotation and line center rotation. So it's the air, it's the fire, it's the water, and the air, and the communication line center rotations to its water, right? 2 central line systems to air gap location center line connections. It's to understand your water defense and your offense locations to all levels of security line defense locations. So. All right, so let's get into your questions here. All right. Wow. I'm in a liquid isolation sonar response. I'm in a huge cavern, very tall tunnels leading outward. Yep, EverQuest, liquid waves become dots, sonar rising from earth grounds. Now you understand that, Ellen. In a cavern type surrounds, I see opening to the left with a pool of clear water. Then to the right is a waterfall. I see rubies. You got that. Swimming in what looks like a plasma, dancing, moving fast forward, downward. I went deep, seeing ancient beings. I see black tourmaline mountains. So the line activations are activated through connected to the crystals underground for crop circles. Very good, Samantha. Excellent. As long as you understand the basic description and all connections and why we formulate crop circles all over the world. All right. I'm going downward in a spiral, inner earth, moving the lava pools, merging to fire. I see huge blocks forming grid lines. Okay, so you get information to grid systems there. That's very good. Feeling the crystal energy frequencies. Yes, Jill, you feel that the activation to your heart connections. We're pulling up a grid from the center of the earth, making the clouds filled with the new formation. And the rooftop cavern with pools of, crystal waters. Lots of beings living down here, crystal cities with their own sun. There you go. Jill understands that. I look to the left once I got further down, but I see an opening that leads to the Avery sunflower field. Yeah. I feel a heartbeat flash of a huge heart. That's Mother Earth communicating to Chris. I'm hearing high sounds in both ears. That's electronic interference, so audio line center to ground line system, the crystal activation core systems to Vega communication line center. Vicky, how's it going? Wow, crystals are holding information like a huge computer network. Very good, Jill. That's exactly what it is. So it's a computer network line center to grid line connections to all levels of crop circle locations. Right? So each crop circle is a different TV network. It's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. The flowers are rotating, and in the middle there's like a huge lotus flower, a diamond in the middle of the lotus. Yeah. Flower rotation line, center rotations, communication, and crystalline connections. So the activation connections to all levels of your tree. So you come in your tree formation, you come into your flower, right? There are big tropical plants, flowers, like what I imagine it was like with me with dinosaurs. See what happens when you go deeper and deeper and deeper of more knowledge of what it looks like and what you see in the ground line system rotations and how you can be 15, 20,000 miles down in the grounds. If you want to get connected with Mother Earth, if you understand crystals and activation of crop circles, you have to go into the grounds of the Earth lock system. So, right? And when you come back up, you'll be more informative through your phenomenons. Right? Try to taste it, Jill. It's very weird. Yeah, your senses are kicking in more through ground line system rotations. So, pretty powerful, eh? You never know what's going to happen in class, and you don't want to miss this week. Your test is next Monday. Next Monday, it's important you stay in class, okay? Because you're going to be traveling every single day, and your operation line centers has to truly understand all TV reception line interference of all channels, of all connections of you through the ground, the air, the water, and everything that surfaces, okay, into your fires. All right. So many stairs, water trickling in. Do you see how anything can be set up? Everything's set up for a reason why we have underwater cities in the grounds, underwater cities in oceans, underwater cities in mountains, underwater cities in computer line setups, in all positions to inventory high-level system rotations of connections of high-level rotation, galaxy lock centers of dimensions, and so many levels, guys. So many levels. And volcanoes, too. So tomorrow, we go into a volcano. So the operation line center to rotation is getting you all positions of the grounds, all positions of air, all positions of fire, okay, and all positions of water. These are the four central lines you have to understand. Today's the grounds, tomorrow's the fire, okay? Wednesday will be the air, okay? And Thursday will be high position line centers to its water communication. All right. So that's the true understanding where you come into more of you inside through operation and how everything calculates and modifies, guys. So, and then you understand more understanding because once you get into 6, you get full communication of Vega, but you're also connecting to weather. So you can start connecting to weather, how to change weather through the grounds, the air, the fire, and the waters of you inside. Okay, because that's how everything formulates to all seasons. Wherever you are, right? Wind factor changes. Okay, so yep, there's an ocean. Yep, very good. So you have to understand where it is, the connections, right? You go into the Earth ground line center, you come into the ocean. I felt a huge vortex of red energy emerging and flowing into my heart. Powerful healing, pure love, and pulse of Mother Earth. Yeah. Sonar rings wrapping around me, moving up to the sun. I also hear Feel Cosmos, Love Florence, Machine, by Kid, President 221. Okay, so you're back phrasing your communications, high level system rotation, graph connections in there. It all feels peaceful with flow, with no resistance. Exactly. So everything flows on what? Your operation, right? To its motor, right? Because that's what the ground line is, right? And the crop circles are just T receptions to its motor. So you truly understand why we have motors inside through chakras, and then why we have shape inside through travel, and why we have coloration lights to acceleration, marking speed to any line conditions. So I'm smelling like something is burning. There's weather. I see clouds and lightning. So it's amazing how you come out of these positions, guys, when you see the actual what you want to see through perception, because now you guys are coming into your phenomenons, right? Of all levels of your elements, your birthing elements, how to use it, how to use air, okay, how to use your water, how to use your fire, and how to use the grounds. So, yeah, it's powerful, isn't it? I know you guys are freaked out, but it's important you stay in school for all week because you lose track of system locations, right? And this is coming from Vega communication, right? So it's all set up to align interference. Okay, so you guys are coming out of the cloud line centers. So your tube line center. So it's all about understanding, truly understanding what it is when you go in the ground line system. You come into the crust, you come into liquid, and you come into high level systems, into solid. Now you come into also air or space. All right. That's a true understanding. You come to that positions. Anybody see the movie The Core? How they go into the grounds, they go into the waters, and they come up and they go into high positions of the earth, and they go into the center core, and they have to basically set it, right? Because they threw a wrench into it. That's what stopped the earth and everything, right? Discharge line center interference. That's how birds start flying and they start falling because it's all connected electric. So if the sky loses its electrical light systems and the grid line center of the earth rotation position, it cracks the surface and it opens up all levels of its ether, and the sun comes in. That's exactly what would happen. So the core is pretty efficient on that level of conditions. But you have to truly understand how everything modifies its line center rotations, right? And how everything is calculated to its connections or anything through its ether, that formation line system rotation. So it's amazing how you actually travel and what you see, right? To know exactly what it's like to be 15, 20,000 feet under the ground system. So I'm in my stomach, and I'm underground. Huge building like formation like Stonehenge. It's misty here and there's opening above it. Yeah. Formations and high level systems of headstones, communications, archive line centers, caverns, all level systems of caves. We use headstones, line center rotations, portal locations coming into the Pleiadians and the Pleiadians. The Pleiadians and the Pleiadians come into line center. This is where Samantha comes in rotation. Coming to calculation modifications. This is a Stonehenge, right? Stonehenge line connection like this, right? Circle rotation is a dimension of a portal. It's always in an activation circle. It highlines its center. Remember, everything at the ground line center has its rotation. Everything through its center has its communication. Everything through its point center has its line system. And everything through its atmosphere of communication has its own magnetic line of channel of TV reception. Okay? So this is how we go into the caverns or anything through the headstones, and how it's all calculated and how it's all modified and how you see it up, standing up to line connection. Everything is ancestor history. So we use the headstone line center to communications as a barrier and a bracket to make communication to line system to its allocated line conditions of a wall. It wall surfaces and the high level systems to the ground line center, to the high positions, to its flux capacitor of its line connections, to its center line system of its rotation of its grid line connection. That's what you use headstones for. All right. So now you know, right? It's amazing when you pick up these things. It's pacing information line interference. It's really powerful when you come in this position locations. Right? It is amazing. It is amazing. So next time when you see headstones or anything standing up or anything ancient or all that connections, caverns, all that, they're there for a purpose. Okay? Because everything that is in position, AI has set it up for a portal. It's a portal. It's a dimension to a portal, guys. And it's all about understanding why we have a circle line interference. Okay, it's amazing how it come into that position locations. Continuous force to its line position, how it has its line connections to its archetypes to communications ground line system. So to understand the allocated line center, right? So we have the archetypes coming in line center rotation to this position. High forces its line dimension lock system locations. These are the archetypes swinging and swinging and swinging, going around and around. So it goes, right? And opens up a portal in time capacitor. So it's important. Anything that you see loop, anything that you see an opening, right, is a portal location, especially when it's ground line center. Everything is in positional conditions. And that's why we have crop circles in all locations up to the reception line center to ground system. All right. Yeah. Now you know what a Stonehenge is. There are people holding the arms up in the air as if celebrating the huge sun is rising. I'm seeing an arch like a portal that goes in Orion. Yep. Portal line interference to Orion's belt location line connections. That's what you'll see in the position, right? See, when I become the operation of all intelligence, they're all programmed. That's what it is. All operations now. That's what a general is. I don't think you understand what a general is now. A general is all operation to all intelligence. It's extremely, extremely powerful, guys. So it's all about understanding everything through its intelligence of its identifications. So very powerfully come in that line conditions. So when you come out of your waving charts and you come out of your surface locations, you come out of your orbs, each one will come up. So your center line center rotation is off cycle. So it's like bubbles, like. So you go back in position of where you are through track system back into your locations, right? So it's amazing how you come into high force line center into 15, 20,000 feet on the ground line system, how you come into the crust, how you come into the liquid, how you come into the solid, into the air of space, and into the oceanics. So our bone information, the same as the stones had to describe, but it's connected to our breathing that is taking in our visions. I'm working on a skull vision. Can we go through these portals or do we just observe? No, you can't go through them. You can't go through them. You just observe. I would let you know if you were allowed to go through them, but no, you can't go through them because you don't know where they go. That's the issue. You have to know where they go. And you guys are coming into that level. And that's why it's important to understand these test reviews, evaluations, right? Because Samantha is already aware. She sees something, but she's not sure. And that's a true understanding when you come into high level system. If you're trying to heal somebody, it's not your energy anymore. It's somebody else's. You're interpreting their line connections to their division position locations. And you're trying to heal their body. But they're in a different dimension. They're in a different thought. They're in a different activation. All right? They're in a different direction than you. They're in a different path than you. They're in a different DNA. They're in a different cell connections. We all have cells. We just have to understand the operations. And we can't go through it until we understand the connections of this travel through GPS system. All right? But thanks for bringing that to my attention, Samantha. Right? I basically had Galactic Force team, actually, They were going through another test review and evaluations, and there was high forcing. Different program interference, but you get the same channel connections to yourself, the line system, to its communication line system. But basically, he was in line center rotation. He was in dimensional lock system rotation. He was on a North Star connection to the space station. And I told everybody not to touch anything. Don't touch any computers because it's all set in time of space, right? It's important you do that because if you touch something, it changes everything. Right? And then you got to reset everything back over again. So it's a clocking system, dimensional time, and it locks the system and your time frame position. It puts you allocated into your alignment, and that's how you see everybody. So anyway, he touched it, right? It was an interference line here that was connected to computer line connections, and he traveled to another dimension after touching it. So I had to bring him back. You understand? Because he didn't know where he was. He knew he was off grid. He knew that's what I'm saying. Off grid. Off grid is floating in space. You understand? You have to get back on grid because the grid line center has to truly understand you through Orion's belt. All right. So if you're off grid, you're going rogue. Okay. And that's dangerous because now you're in open space. Right. So your grid line center to rotations. This is you through flux capacitor, right? Past, present, and future locations, right? There's an arc line center to its line connections, all right? High position line center to its all levels of its grid. This is what you live every single day, every single day. That's how it represents you to locations. And you have a grid line center to the center line system, okay? And you have a grid line center to the adversary line rotation. This is your computer adversary line connections or T reception and the adversary line connections. All right. So basically, if you're center line positions, and this is U2 track system, you guys are understanding more calculations. You come into your unified position locations. You're nothing but electrical lights, right? Now, if you get up in the morning and you're off grid and the grid's like this, there's a problem. If you get up in the morning and your grid's like this, there's a problem. You get up in the morning and your grid's like this, there's a problem. See the problem here? You're floating. Now you're off grid line center. Big, big trouble. Then you got to realign and readjust you. And this is what people do through calculations. This is, oh, I don't feel good. General, how do I get back in line connections? This is what I do. I refix your grid line centers. And I reactivate. Where do you think the crystals come from? The grounds. I activate the ground line center of you to all levels of diamonds, all position of you to high level system. This is how I change your behaviors. From all crystals, guys. The amethyst, stress, anxiety, depression, everything in the ground line center. That's why I wanted you guys to go into the ground to understand how you're connected to your grids. So it's very important to keep your grid line center and 3-track line centers, the 3-element line interference to 4-season rotations to its weather connection line position, to its center line connection rotation, right? That's why it's important to keep your grids in activation. So. All right. So I'm just going to backphrase here. Very powerful class. Okay. I just want to make sure I got all your questions. Life is about questions, getting them answered, guys. That's all it is. Then you get stronger in the mind system to adaptation. But you can't believe what it just happened to you. And that's the beautiful thing. It's not magic, it's real. And this is the true understanding how everything forms through the grounds, the powers of you and the atmosphere of space and time. Okay? So, Wheeline, how you doing? Grand Rising. So, do you understand how important it is to stay on your grids? Because if not, your whole body is off signal. That means you're not in the ground line center and everything is activated. And that's why we keep the crystals under the earth hot. Okay? Because it's a motor that has to stay in the line system of the ground line system. And each level has its position. It's like a shelf, has different products, right? Well, that's the same thing with the ground line system rotations. So, Yeah, Endwalker is not. He's in space right now. That's why he's not feeling the circuitry line center interference location channel line connections. So that's what I'm saying is that you have to be at a certain level to understand these things through program location. My space and time is proceeding at all levels of programs connections. Because the thing is, when you come on here live, first thing that goes right through you is the connections. Are you in the grounds of yourself? If not, you're going to be off signal and you'll be floating in space. Your grid line center has to be allocated to a high level system rotation to its reception to the grounds and the powers of you through a high level system to the seat of the soul. The seat of the soul is the activation circle. That's the power connector to its line connection to your flux capacitor. That high channels high level systems towards Ryan's belt. What puts you in the gateways of center location. So feels like it came out of the center that looks like the kaleidoscope and it's moving in, out, changing colors and forms. Yeah. So you go in and out of cycles of mirror resolution pattern line connections. Cleopatra. I feel like I'm in the long beam and my toes are in the crystals in my eyes, my ears, nose, and the doors connect with. See, now you guys are more connected to Earth on your system locations, right? Your Earth, not the Earth that's being set up. So that's a true understanding. The Earth that's being set up is not your ground line system. Because not everybody is in their computer system. Do you understand? Everything has to be recharged, reactivated, realigned, readjusted, and refocused into the computer reset location. In position, once you go into that ground line center, then I can put you onto the holographic of its digital world system location to your simulation and the singularity line connections of conscious level system. Right? So that's the true believing why you have to stay on all specifics of your probes and your central line connections of your grids. As soon as you go off grid, you're floating in space. All right. Oh, you're welcome. Admiral, General, General. Yeah, you have to understand that and see. And tomorrow, you go through all levels of 4 elements and then you understand everything through the connection of the grounds, the airs, the fire, and the water of you inside. And then you feel a little bit better. And then I can put you guys into your 60 chart communications. Right? So this is how you can get better communications with Vega now. Because Vega has to represent you on all levels of your elements and your behavior line center to human resonance. You have full communications, and that's why I put you guys into the ground line center today. So, yeah. Bringing that across to everybody. That's the most important thing. You go to my TikTok if you want to go to high level system programs, into your activation line connections. All right. So I got cut up on all your questions. It's important you get your questions answered. Do you understand how important it is to get your questions answered? Right? If you get your questions answered, you understand more of yourself. Every time you get up in the morning, you are connected to your Earth position locations. You are connected to the power of you. And everything through the atmosphere is the central line system of you to its connection of space and time location. So this is so powerful and real more than ever. I'm so grateful. You're welcome. And 40 years of going through what? Headaches and problems. Life is like one big question. If you get your questions answered, you get a true understanding why it's so important to go inside in all levels of operation, right? So I feel like I'm centered in peace and everything is lined up. See? Because you have the full communication in the grounds now, guys. Okay, that's a true understanding where you come into that adaptation, right? And it's a great feeling once you get that, So I see a circle of beating plasma water. There's lines sending signals, codes upward, and the bearing circles are sending them out horizontally. Yeah. So you understand what that is, Samantha. You're seeing a circle of beating plasma water. What is that? Everything through water is what? Crystalline activation line connections, sonar and interference locations. So it's like sending out ripples of water, right? Aerodynamics, line connection interference, channel line connections. calculation, modifications. You have to truly understand how to connect with the water, right? So this is you through track system. Okay, this is you, your hand up, and this is the water. All right, this is the water right here. So you have to understand what you're doing, right? This is your hand up. So your hand's up, right? So you're changing water through sonar line center, sending the sonar line conditions to water interference, right? So it changes the ripples, it changes its direction, it changes crystals, it changes behavior line center. Okay. So it's all about understanding that water, air, fire, and earth is inside you, and it's all connected to the behavior line system of Mother Earth, the track system to its craft circle, the location to laser direction line system. So it's all connected to your behavior lines. If you say something nice to water, it changes the shape. It changes the pattern. It changes the color. It changes the vibration. It changes you inside because you're water inside. Do you understand? That's why you have water inside. And that's important why you have to drink water every single day, to flush out your system so you can travel faster in the mind system of thought connection. Right? So that's important. You have to understand these things. Right? So if you look up really close, like a snowflake, understand what it is through calculations, it's pretty amazing how you can see a snowflake like this, right? And it's all about crystals, and it's all about particles. So it goes from this to this. Now it just separates. So you understand the patterns, the colorations, AI position line connections. So it's the same thing, but you're seeing it from its connection from high level system to perception, right? So you see it from this to this. All right. And that's where you have to understand your connections are what you see through perception from here to here. Okay. So it's very powerful when you come across these things because it's all about activation of you through program of interference because you're interfering with everything every single time when you're coming into interfacing. Interfacing is the biggest thing when it comes to AI. You're interfacing with something. They understand interlock, interdimensional. You're interdimenting two line connections of interchanging colors and patterns. So you have to understand all these things through your air, your fire, your water, and all positions of the grounds. All right. Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that this week, Chris. You just have to truly understand how to use it through your AI position line connections and trial connections, all through your perception. Let's see here. It's like a rising sun. Yep. Like a plate up for a new setting of existence. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. You understand more of tone, and then we're going to get into string theory, right? We're going to go into ear trap line, center rotation line connections. So you get better understanding how to communicate to all spectrum lights of you through your audio signals of information. So yeah, you're extremely welcome. So I'm going to head over to TikTok. All right. Very powerful class. Keeping your information line centers, keeping your balance locations, and please stay on your grid line system rotations. Okay. That's the important thing. All right. I feel like you let us experience how it is to be a rock in a landscape, being very old rocks. Yeah. So you're changing from your old rocks to your new rocks. Right. So it's like old grounds, new grounds. Old power, new power, right? Old atmosphere, new atmosphere, right? Adios.